All right, when do I hit play? I lost the remote. It's gonna be Wag the Dog.
Hold on.
We're watching Wag the Dog. This is a Bone Us.
So find the play button.
Oh,
Don't hit it yet. But
All right.
we're gonna try to do this.
I found the play button.
So you guys listening, if you give a shit about being in sync at all, hit your play button. We're gonna do 3, 2, 1, play, and that's when you
3, 2, 1, play.
Hit it because Kyle hit it already.
Sorry, they'll figure it out. Because you you have to tell Kirk how you do the thing where you like sync the movie, or you take the movie's audio out like by feeding it into the thing, or is it just have the audios? How's that work?
I don't remember what I did for In a Violent Nature, but now the way I started doing the last 2 or 3 of these was I didn't use any of the AI stuff to filter out because it would take too fucking long. AI. No, it would take too fucking long, and it would butcher it if I did anything else on the computer while.
Do you think that running. Quote reflects on what you just said?
Because a dog is smarter than it.
What? Yeah, I think what you were just saying about AI is like that's the tail wagging the dog, which is what this movie's about.
Yeah.
As a metaphor.
No, so I just throw them. I just throw effects on the track that tailored for each person. I solo each one and tailor each. I do a fucking
use some fucking, and then you get back to working.
Noise gate, dynamics processing, and noise gate, so that it kind of shaves off the quieter stuff. That's what keeps you from hearing much of other people's voices. It's like what's going to keep my, it's going to shave off my voice being picked up on your mic, or your voice on my mic, or Kirk's voice on my mic, or vice versa. And that just helps everything sound better.
All right, and you two haven't seen this movie before. I have seen the movie once, actually, multiple times, but once recently with my wife, and she liked it. And because it's an election movie, the DNC is on tonight when we're recording this. Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, is set to speak. We are Upper Midwest filmmakers who live in Minnesota. Did everyone vote for Tim Walz? Don't answer that question. It's not a good time to talk about it. I hope this cast list is doing it for you guys. You just saw Robert De Niro come in and get, what do you call that, swabbed or whatever, where you do the wand thing to figure out if you can get through security. And he's shown up at the White House. Do either of you have any idea what this movie's about?
Yeah, they manufacture a war.
Yes.
I read the summary. The premise. Mark
Knopfler.
Wait, do you know the music person for this movie?
He's from Dire Straits, the band. The I Want My MTV fucking
song.
The one who kind of like gets flamed for a line he says in that song. That's not see these days.
Is it the F word?
Yes, it is.
No, the F word. Yep. Not fuck. So this is based on that book by, I got the name, I don't remember it, but David Mamet, supposedly, I know it's not how you pronounce David Mamet, was like, tell me nothing about the movie Barry Sonnenfeld. I'll just write what I think it should be. But I don't know if he was rewriting Hillary Hankins' script.
He was, because it said "and" spelled out.
Yeah.
And plus, I've never seen him paired with an ampersand. I've seen him paired with other ands, like on Hannibal.
Oh, sure.
Steve Zalian, I think he, yeah.
Do you get Barry Levison and Barry Sonnenfeld confused?
No,
I do not.
I don't know who those two people are.
I was just watching Men in Black again. That's Barry Sonnenfeld, the guy who did Addams Family. Barry Levinson's, man, I wish I could think of his oeuvre now. So in the equivalent of the Situation Room.
Yeah.
The West Wing was depicting it very differently a year after this, because there's
isn't it the War Room? Actually, it's called the War Room.
It's called the War Room, not the Situation Room.
Yeah, it's a War Room, I think.
I think they've changed that. I think they changed that at some point because they war doesn't test well, and that'll play into.
Mm-hmm.
And all the problems they list of what a politician would deal with. What is this? Over 25 years ago, nothing's changed. Basically, the president got caught banging, I want to live in a world where we have a female president and she can get caught banging, and then they, manufacture some sort of antitrust case against one of the largest corporations or something. That'd be my war.
I
That's
mean,
the
they
war
could
it
do it
was.
now, right? If Harris gets elected.
Well, yeah, that's Tim Walz, Kamala Harris. This podcast should not function as an endorsement for one side or the other because
No, but
this.
we are dating it a lot.
Oh, I know, and I think that's good.
References.
I love that when the commentaries do that. When I know when they recorded it, like Ben Affleck was mad when he had to go back and watch the DVD of Armageddon.
Oh, why was he mad about it? Did he not like the movie?
He just talks about how there's dumb decisions and they shouldn't have, uh,
So De Niro is
a fixer.
Oh, a fixer.
He's a fixer, and when Dustin Hoffman gets here, he'll be something else. That I think will be very relevant to us and our aspirations in life as filmmakers.
Oh, Dustin Hoffman is like the film producer.
Yeah.
Yes. He's the film.
Who's the president?
You never see the president.
Oh,
that was kind of
okay.
There's like the thing about how the president is several layers deep of people working to like protect him, kind of like Nixon.
Yeah.
Nixon had people that were like, okay, we're in the campaign staff, we don't talk to the president, but then they broke a law and were like, okay, so let's cover this up, and they resigned because of that.
Oh, well, so you do. It's Craig.
Oh,
T.
he has a face.
Nelson.
No. Craig T. Nelson is the opposition leader.
Opposition.
So he's running in the opposite party because the person they're working for is the one we saw in the commercial at the beginning who was on the horse. You don't switch horses midstream.
Oh.
It's re-elect the president is.
But and I vaguely saw that, but you saw him. Like, is it anyone?
Yeah, on a TV commercial that was like grainy and shot differently than that.
Oh, so yes. You can't recognize him. You don't recognize, like, if you had to say who the actor was who played him, you don't know.
You know what? Okay, you guys will have, when I look down at my phone screen, you feel the dead air because those are the kind of things I gotta look up.
Do we necessarily have to feel the dead air for a
commentary?
Yeah, commentary.
I mean, most people are probably going to listen to this as like just like a podcast.
Commentary about it. Sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a talky movie, though. So
yeah, there's a lot of dialogue already.
Well, David Mamet, my friend.
Well, I'm not familiar with David Mamet.
He's the guy that does the Always Be Closing, ABC from Alec Baldwin.
Glengarry Glen Ross. Right?
Like the
Coffees for Closers. What'd you say?
What? I said Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said. Brass balls. Yeah.
Yes, Brass Balls.
And I saw the SNL version of that. That was hilarious. With the elves.
That's the thing. That's like how kids watching Shrek are growing up with a parody of something and not the actual thing.
Right. It happens all the time.
I almost want, like, this movie is intended to be a comedy, but it's a political comedy, and those typically didn't do well. I don't think this movie did well.
No.
In theaters. Oh,
neither did Bulworth.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Isn't that the one with Halle Berry?
Warren. Oh, she is in that. Yeah, but Warren Beatty is the, main guy.
And then there's the one where it's Tim Robbins and he's Bob Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
And there's something like he plays guitar and stuff. And then people were saying that something in the plot of Bob Roberts relates to the recent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, who is running against Kamala Harris. And hopefully people are listening to this years in the future as a historical artifact of...
Yeah, probably won't be.
Where the world's a better place.
It's how we train the AI. Don't you see?
Yeah.
The AI or the algorithm?
Both? Well, the AI is made up of an algorithm. It's like, are you a human or a meat sack? I mean, you are a human, but you're also a meat sack. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, feeling more meat sack than human these days. Heyo.
dark. Okay, I'm
What
looking
about
up who plays the
Robin
president.
Williams, Man of the Year? That's
Oh,
also Barry Levinson, I think.
I think you're. I can't remember. I love that movie,
That's
Man
another
of
one
the Year.
no one saw. You saw it.
I don't think I saw it in theaters. I own it on disc, but I bought it secondhand, and I definitely, when I uh, watched it on somebody else's computer screen that I have no idea how they generated that image on.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Did you
So I
find
don't,
out who it was?
what?
Did you find out who it was?
Who plays the president?
Yeah.
That was also Barry Levinson.
Oh, Man of the Year is
Yes.
Barry Levinson.
Yeah.
That's a sick movie. We should just do a series of political movies commentaries. Kirk, have you seen Man of the Year? Because if you're listening to a commentary for Wag the Dog, a movie you cannot stream anywhere, so you'd have really this is a movie you can't stream anywhere, and I think it's kind of obvious as to why when you watch the movie. Because
Do you mean stream for free?
streaming because
Wink,
you're
wink.
um, subscribed to one of the major streaming services like Paramount up to Netflix, Peacock up to Hulu. Disney
I,
doesn't have. If you
I,
stream it in another country using your VPN, you could probably find it.
no, I mean, it says Google, like when you search a movie and it tells you here's where it's streaming. It says it's on Amazon. It says it's on
Oh, but that's probably like buying it.
probably like what?
Well, like you can always buy movies on Amazon.
Well, no, it's rent. It's a rental. It says $3 whatever and
Oh,
change.
okay, sure,
But like, so that's what I was asking. Like, you weren't nowhere where you can stream it for free
correct.
for not a pay per view.
Yeah, you got to be
Yeah, I'm
paying
surprised it's
for
not
it.
on Tubi. I mean, because a lot of older, stuff this old has ended up on Tubi.
Well, something funny about Tubi that and I don't relish saying this, but Tubi was mostly appealing to women of color, which is great.
I can tell by like what all their original. Like I can tell like they know their audience. They know the audience.
And what they're trying to do by expanding into other demographics would be to capture other groups with economic power, not to make any comments about whether Asian women earn more than white men on average. So in the United States.
Is this the president?
No, it's the producer.
Oh, that's Dustin.
Yeah.
This is Dustin Hoffman. I asked Google directly who plays the president, and it didn't help me. And Matthew Puddister? That sounds wrong.
Hud?
No, that's sorry, Matthew Puddister. You're a Substack that comes up when I search who is the president in Wag the Dog. Okay, I'll do it the Wikipedia way.
Primary Colors, 1998. Another one.
I bought that
fucking
one
gave a shit
along with this. I think I paid more for Primary Colors than I did this one. I borrowed it to Chris Didenay, stand-up comedian from the Twin
Yeah.
Cities, and his wife was like, "I don't think that's realistic." And I was like, "Do you understand the things that Bill Clinton had happened to him? Because it's just like a Bill Clinton pastiche,
Yeah.
right down to Vince Foster killing himself through what's her name, Kathy Bates."
Yeah.
And like, fuck you if you're listening to this. That like me spoiling Primary Colors for you. You can still watch that movie and know she's gonna kill herself, and that I don't think it makes it any worse. What's funny is that this movie came out right before the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Oh wow, that's like almost perfect timing.
You would think something like that would be perfect timing, like Zoolander after 9/11. Everyone needed a laugh, but it didn't actually work out that way.
Yeah.
No, the box office for this was decent. It says because this came out in December. So Wikipedia says 15 mil, box office 64.3.
Oh, that's domestic.
That can't possibly be the case.
That's I mean, yeah.
Reception. Had it 86 on Rotten Tomatoes. Using that was obviously historical, and 73 on Metacritic.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's reception, not box office. Sorry. How dare I really like Dustin Hoffman in this movie.
Does he play the straight man in this movie?
Because he plays a producer, and as producer that you both know very well, I feel as though it is emblematic of the experience in all levels, like making up stuff and kind of what do they call it in Deadpool and Wolverine, where he says hopeful wishing, where I was educated.
Wish.
It was an educated wish.
wish. Yeah.
That's what producing is. It's an educated wish. Oh gosh. So yeah, Clinton bombed a pharmaceutical factory in the Sudan in August 1998. This movie comes out December 1998, and the Lewinsky scandal is
Wasn't it
1999.
97?
99.
No, this is 97.
This is 98.
December of 98?
Excuse me, December 97.
So then it sometimes probably gets called 98 because it's so...
Yes, because it was like an awards run. Like most people probably saw it in 1998, around when you know they're bombing things, and the president is definitely screwing her. I can't wait. I think he actually exiles her at some point, but you should watch American Crime Story Impeachment sometime. It is the funniest thing.
Is it supposed to be funny, or are you just laughing the whole time?
My wife and I laugh because Clive Owen is some sort of European doing a Southern American's accent. An American Southern person.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
I cannot find who played the president.
This could be a mystery for all time.
Someone's screaming into their headphones right now.
Wow.
That's not true, the Gulf War thing, but there is like this, and we've talked about this before in relation to Network, how the media affects different forms of war, because people think they want war until they are forced to look at it, because like Vietnam ended because of people seeing pictures and be like, why are we doing this? It took years, right? The Democrat National Convention in Chicago in 1968, a lot of protesters there about the war and that sort of thing. It doesn't end for another 5 years after that.
It's crazy.
At least the U.S. involvement, excuse me.
Right. You gotta make sure you're specific about it.
Yeah, and I know I'm telling this to somebody from that region of the world who, your family was there at that time, right?
Yeah, they were. Wait, but if he was able to do the Kennedy assassination, why is he asking Hoffman for help?
No, he wasn't able to do the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, okay.
He's saying that the first draft of the Warren report said that Kennedy was hit by a drunk driver. What is it? Dulles is the one who ends up doing the report, and he's somebody that was fired by Kennedy, and I'm not well versed. Nick, you're pretty into conspiracies, aren't you?
Somewhat. I mean, like, I don't think what they tell us happened to JFK is what happened to JFK.
Donald Trump, when he was president, or after he was president, said, if I release the information they told me,
Well, I also don't think Donald Trump is privy to all the information he likes to say he's privy to.
They're not allowed to lie to him legally at a certain point when you're the commander in chief. He chose to keep it classified, or reclassify it for another 10 years or whatever. I am not saying that's good or bad. I think it's bad, to be honest with you. But I like the joke that once the American public realizes that, the American bureaucracy will just murder a president for the sake of doing whatever, like, no, we want to keep going into the war in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Fuck you, we're killing you, JFK. And like, whose moneyed interests made that happen? I don't know.
But wouldn't it be easier not to murder the guy and just make him look incredibly bad and get him impeached?
No, that doesn't work, because like people didn't believe that. and ultimately it didn't work in the what do you call it, the houses. Like, to me, that's why you would want more than two parties, because one party being so loyal to one person, he does have populist support. So, like, what do you do with that? I don't know. And like in this case, it's like people. This movie's theory is that the broad populace is dumb. And I think we are,
Yeah, we are. It's no
because
argument
we get
against
news
that.
from TV, and like that's a bet.
Well, to be fair, that's usually the only way. It's still the only way that people get news nowadays.
And as Nick knows, Kirk and I have been getting into like deep political debates. An example that
It's
happened
been
at
so much fun.
so at the DNC, what was it, 2 days ago? Delegate from Michigan held up a "Hey, stop the war in Gaza" kind of flag, and he started getting hit with "We love Joe" signs. And you wouldn't know that from watching it on TV. It's because journalists turned their cell phones on. Were like, "Look what's going on over here," and that guy got interviewed.
Wow.
Since then, it's like, "Hey, what did they? You're a delegate from Michigan." Was a Jewish person protesting the war in Gaza as a delegate in the DNC, and most news places aren't going to put that guy on TV, right? But internet
No.
journalists go, "Hey, so what was it like with the cops after you held up a sign that made people?" Because somebody said that he assaulted her, but it was like all on camera. He didn't, I watched the video. He doesn't hit anyone.
So why were the cops after him?
The cops weren't after him.
After him. Okay.
Well, there was a disturbance, and like the cops were like, "Hey, we can't." Like, he was like, "I didn't hit anyone. I have my right to free speech, even at this event where I'm credentialed as a delegate to be at." So, you know, that, but you wouldn't know about that story if, you know, somebody or Colbert last night, actually, while Nancy Pelosi was on, had a protester, and I'm shocked that you can just go watch it on YouTube right now.
Why? Why would they? Whose YouTube is it on?
Colbert's.
Okay.
Like, I'm glad they put it out. To their credit, and I thought Stephen Colbert handled that situation very well. And obviously, his choices have led to him being able to interview, Nancy Pelosi and then Hakeem Jeffries on the same night.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Tiffany Broadcasting, network wants to do. The CBS.
Are they coming up with their song?
Think so?
Every big war needs a song.
What song was for World War II?
I'm sure there is some sort of there are several PhDs who have done, like, this was the song of World War II. But you know what, Kirk?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna Google that.
All right.
What was the song of World War II? I would say "Fortunate Son" was a good song for Vietnam.
That was,
that's for sure.
There are multiple matches to. Sorry.
Is that Dennis Leary? Is that
Dennis
his
Leary,
name? Yeah.
Dennis Leary is like an idea man, but he's for Hollywood movies, but they're applying all these Hollywood people to coming up with the fake war they're going to.
Mm-hmm. But it's a real country, isn't it? In the movie world, it's a real country.
Yes. Now you make me want to go check. Is it because they say Albania? I think they said Albania, right?
Yeah, it's Albania.
Yeah. It's kind of like Algeria. Could you point to me on a map, Algeria and Albania? What if I spin you around first?
But if it's a real country and then this comes out and then the country goes, "What the hell are you talking about? There's no war here." Like,
but what capacity do those people in the late 90s have the ability to get that information onto, the various televisions that exist? The internet is somewhat in its early days, so you might get like written reports, but people would still kind of look at that as, that's the internet. You can't trust what you read on the internet. You can't trust new media,
And then by the time the truth comes out, it's already looked over and everybody's moved on to the next story. Supposedly.
What is the term? A lie goes around the world before the truth can put its pants on. That's from like goes back to the 1940s. I think
Wow, how old are you? I never heard that before.
I'm from the 1940s. That's why I remember Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from 1941.
Wow.
The Andrews Sisters was the song of World War II.
Andrew
That's one
sisters.
of the answers Google gives.
Mhm. That's the tricky part.
I mean, come on. Like, that seems like, well, does it have to be this idea? What if we just change it? Does it have to be a lake? What if it was the, PCBs?
Right. Wow, that's a
Man, I hope
deep
that one
cut.
works out.
Yeah.
I Now I want to Google an Albania. Let's see what Albanian restaurants exist in the Twin Cities. They must. Albanian restaurant near me. Devish Maza. It's Middle Eastern.
Wow, you gonna check it out tomorrow?
Well, wait, I looked up Italian and it brought me a Middle Eastern place, an Italian place, and a Greek place. I think Google's a little racist. Albanian restaurants near me. Yeah. Okay. Now I get Middle Eastern, Laotian. I don't.
I think it's kind of weird. The first thing they have to come up with is a song.
Well, it shows you how like bullshit the lie is.
Right.
Because like, how do you sell a good lie? This is a movie about selling a good. Like Hollywood is about selling a good lie.
Mm.
Hey, maybe your life has meaning and you can fall in love, win the game, and that helps the town. No.
Yeah, but they're selling the premise before they sell the catchy song that brings the hero, great power, and he can overcome anything.
What situations, either in the recent or far past, do you think this is analogous to?
Wait, what?
What
Yeah.
situations in the recent? And I'm not trying to be politically charged when I ask this question. I'm just saying, like, do you? Okay, I'll give one from 20 years ago. I thought going into Iraq was what we had to do after 9/11. Clearly that was a dumb thing to have done, but it was 2003, over 20 years ago, when I was a child, and I didn't know any better. The adults, the people on the news seemed like they knew what was going on, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like that was a good idea 20 years later, 20 plus years later. But how was it sold? On the news and stuff. Like people were hated and vilified if they said bad things about it. Or they were, comedians.
Yeah, but I don't know. Some of it has to do with hindsight too, in some ways, because you don't really. There was a. They sold us on the dangers of what was in Iraq and stuff.
Sure. And then there weren't dangers.
Yeah, they
like
weren't.
what Iraq is going to, those guys weren't from Iraq, They had no connection to
not.
9/11. It was like, okay, we went to Afghanistan. Now we're doing another one. We got to get as many wars as. And it's like now getting 2 wars in a presidential term doesn't seem like a big deal. Because they just wrapped up Afghanistan, then Ukraine started, and then Gaza started. And is Gaza a war since one of the parties is not a nation state? I guess now that Iran has said if they accept the ceasefire deal from last month, they won't retaliate. Iran's a real country. So, but like how much of we're not seeing that war on the news as much anymore because it's like, hey, look how much fun people are having in Chicago. Mindy Kaling's there.
Yeah, that's great.
This is not a partisan like slap at the Democrats, but like they reek of celebrities. There are a lot of celebrities at their convention. Whereas at the Republican convention, it's like Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan.
I mean,
not intellectual,
they are
leaders.
Celebrities in some manner, but
oh yeah, I like Kid Rock songs, and I think Hulk Hogan's hilarious, but he's also a bad person because he said my daughter can't date black people, and Kid Rock said the N word to Rolling Stone. So I mean, And that was off the top of my head. He was trying to take off Rolling Stone. Her name isn't Tracy Lime. That's Kirsten Stewart. I can't tell you who played the fucking president in this movie because he's only.
It's
What?
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst? What did I say?
Stewart.
Oh,
that's from Twilight, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just such a zillennial that I screw up my Kirstens. You see? Do you think if Kristen Stewart was like 10 years older, she would have been in Civil War? And if Kirsten Dunst was 10 years younger, she would have been in Love Lies Bleeding?
I haven't seen Love Lies Bleeding. So I don't know. I've seen Civil War.
Harlan Williams! I love that guy. What, you don't love Harlan Williams?
I don't remember him in a lot of movies.
He's in Half-Baked.
He's the cop in Dumb and Dumber who drinks the piss.
Oh, yeah.
He's the hitchhiker and There's Something About Mary. It's 7.
You had those out. The Fairley Brother ones out quick, Nick.
Yeah.
Because he was a stand-up around this time. I mean, he's been a stand-up for 40 years. Across 4 decades.
He cameoed in Half-Baked 2.
Oh, you watched Half-Baked 2?
A little bit.
What's it called?
Half-Baked 2.
Wait, is there more than... now I gotta Google this.
No, there's just 2. They just made a second one.
Like recently?
Like in the last year.
Oh, wow.
Less than a year ago.
Damn.
It was background viewing and Harlan Williams popped up in it.
It's called Half-Baked Totally High.
Sure. It's Half-Baked 2.
Yo, shoot, he comes up first. I guess my phone's listening to me, but it's got a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
That sounds about right.
I don't. Oh God, and she's got Tostitos like Kamala went out for Doritos. That's like,
what about Doritos?
You haven't heard like the Republicans are mad or the conservative media is mad at Kamala for getting Doritos or something?
What's wrong with getting Doritos?
I have not gotten the crosstabs on that one, even though I listen to, you both know I listen to way too much news. That's not actually of news relevance, so I don't care, and I just know Republicans are mad about Kamala getting Doritos, which is funny because Kirsten Dunst, they make her have fucking Tostitos so that the idiots at home in the late 90s will relate to this Albanian woman,
so Kirsten Dunst is playing an Albanian girl.
Yeah, because they're making the ad for the throwing the cherry bomb down the chimney, like in the Gulf War.
Okay.
Because that's what, like, this is when CNN and these types of 24-hour news things were coming around, right? And starting we're just going to constantly feed information to people. And it's like, well, I'm watching the news. This is education. It's like a quick documentary.
Village library.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they do a little blue screen work here because it's the 90s. And she's running on a blue screen and they put a village in the background. What would you call that, Nick, how they're doing this?
Wait, what?
You like understand the technology better than I do, I would guess. Although this was live
to tape. Like Chrome key or something?
Yeah, they're doing it. It's all happening in, hardware that takes up a whole room rather than a software. Is that David Koechner on the left?
That could be David Koechner on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Again, this is a comedy movie with comedians in it. I'm going to tip my hat a little bit and say it's kind of like Network in a way.
That occurred to me pretty early on as this started. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a 90s version
of Network.
Not the same subject matter exactly, but
on the documentary on the DVD, which I watched in the man cave, the garage we're sitting in recording this, they talk about how they were trying to do a version of Network in modern times.
Oh, okay.
And they, that's where I learned that, like, political movies, those don't do well at the box office. And then we looked this one up. And it's like, well, it did pretty well. So they made Primary Colors the next year and other ones. And then it kind of died out because people got sick of it after, the Clinton stuff. And then 9/11, and people were like, let's not talk about politics like this. Let's have Rah Rah America or fantasy. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Am I wrong?
No, I don't know. People are looking for some kind of positivity and all the crap.
Escapism.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
but not Harry Potter is not very. I mean, there's a lot of critiques about Harry Potter these days.
Oh man, I wonder if they have any boxers from Albania, the writer. Oh gosh, that's such. Like, aren't you mad that you know about that?
A little bit, but it is an issue that should be discussed and talked about.
So here's the one I'm more mad about that I just figured out is the breakdancing girl.
Yeah, from Australia. Yeah, that's. I
She
think
she controlled the like funding to breakdancing, the public funding to breakdancing, or her husband did, and then like stopped other people from getting it. And then she was the, you know, person for breakdancing and then from Australia, and now they're not going to do it in the Olympics anymore or something like that.
yeah, unless well, the Olympics is going to Australia, so the Australia get bring back when they're back there. But
No, the Olympics goes to LA in 2028.
No, and then it goes to Australia.
In 2032?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Olympics goes in
But
2032.
yeah, her name was Reagan, and she completely like took away from legitimate breakdancers in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Olympics.
Kind of like lying about wars takes away from actual conflict and sacrifice that our, service people do. But like, I want to make movies, I care more about movies than I do international politics.
But would you like to make a movie that fools the entire country? That's one hell of a movie.
Kirk, I'm so excited for you to find out how this all turns out. So part of this, like what they're telling us is, look at this asshole living above LA with this huge fucking house. It's like the mansion they throw the party at in Babylon at the beginning.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Nick, have you watched Babylon?
No, I have no intention to watch.
You're wrong not to watch at least 3 scenes from Babylon.
Yeah.
Which 3 scenes should I watch?
The one where the one where Harley Quinn, Barbie, films her first sound recording take.
Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah, I after this, when we hit end, I'm gonna put that on for you because it's like that. Come on, it's and that's got a lot of comedians in it too.
What are the other 2 scenes?
The end, because it pisses me off, and then maybe the opening, like the first 15 minutes. He should also we talked to someone that was in that movie because he was in Tobey Maguire's Entourage, and we talked to him because he's a writer.
Oh,
we're not gonna name drop.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of who this was, and yeah.
Well, we're serious.
Now I remember. Yeah.
Oh, the next one of these bonuses we got to do.
It's Bone Us. We gotta get the name right.
Bone Us.
Yeah, Bone Us.
BONE -US, because we're patriotic. Is Alien 3 Special Edition, because the one we recorded recently, the person was like, "I own a movie theater. Bring the Blu-ray. We'll watch."
It really happen? You think so?
We bring our sound equipment. We do the whole thing.
It's gonna be hard on the audio, don't you think?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. We'll figure out something.
That sounds like a Helen Keller square dance waiting to happen.
Helen Keller square dance. I'm sure she'd do fine if someone was leading her, and then you just like, someone's gonna like you sign to her that someone's gonna be catching your arm. I'm sure she went to a square dance. Oh man, maybe. That's a Google. Did Helen Keller ever go to a square dance?
That's what the internet's for. These kind of searches. Helen Keller, square dancing.
I stole that from Coffee and Cream, that Netflix movie with Ed Helms.
From what?
Coffee and Cream on Netflix.
God damn it! You brought that up in 21 episodes or 22 episodes. You brought up Coffee and Cream twice.
I only would have brought it up to make the same joke. Helen Keller square dance. That's like the one funny thing from that movie.
Okay, Google Helen Keller. Hey Texas, students need to learn about Helen Keller. Don't remove her. Washington Post, 2018.
My niece is like very kind of anti Helen Keller.
Why?
Your niece is very anti Helen Keller?
How old is your niece?
20.
Okay.
She'll be 27.
So this is Zillennial is against Helen Keller?
Well, it's just like having done a stint as a few years as a teacher. She was just skeptic. She's a Helen Keller skeptic, I would say. Like, did Helen Keller really do all these things? Because I call
like
bullshit.
Helen Keller is a Wag the Dog? It's like,
maybe.
Hey, look at this deaf,
well, there's like quotes. Like,
woman.
I don't think Helen Keller really said this, or I don't think Helen Keller really. I don't know what the example is, but like,
I love the conspiracy that Helen Keller is faked. I dated a girl that made lots of Helen Keller jokes.
Wow, you got any good ones?
No. You mean jokes or times
jokes.
with that?
Jokes. Why would I ask about your ex-girlfriend?
Because it's funny. I would ask about my ex-girlfriend. Okay, so they're in South America talking to William F. Muffman. Because remember, he is William F. Hoffman. Muffman, something like that.
Look, someone's already figuring it out. There is no war here.
Well, they like the intelligence agencies would know there's not a war going on, obviously. So then the White House and political consultant Bobby De Niro would run afoul of those intelligence agencies. And in the year before Fargo comes out, this is what William F. Muffman was doing. H. Muffman. He's married to Felicity Huffman. And he had no knowledge of those crimes that his wife committed for their children. He is a bold example of a character actor that you shouldn't question. Damn. But, was part of that college. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, it's kind of like college is a scam, like Wag the Dog,
Yeah. Well, it's like, hey, come here and spend $100,000 and you'll get a job that pays your tuition back in a couple of years. And like, no, you're gonna make $30,000 with your master's degree.
Good luck, sucker.
No, statistically, with a 4-year college degree, you will make more money than just with a high school degree.
That was statistically is always based on the past, though. And
this could be an inflection point. You're right. We could be at an inflection point, and the real cost of it is that only a third of the electorate graduates college, but like half to 55. I think it's like almost up to 60% of people go. So what happens to that? 15-20% that doesn't graduate but still has the loans. I think it's like 40 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
That math works out because there's 350 million people. Hey, I am hired to lie for the president, okay? They go to war for dumb reasons and because people in power make money. Oh, yeah, we're not really in any wars right now in 1997, 1998, when people are making and seeing this movie. I guess this is after the Somalian conflict but that's
Black Hawk Down.
Well, yeah, what Black Hawk Down, but Black Hawk Down is considered historically inaccurate and racist and all those things. But it also, like, Ridley Scott has made some fucking intense movies, and I have watched that movie multiple times for its intensity.
Is it that good, or is that intense so you watch it multiple times?
Well, I own it, so we should watch it sometime. It's technically very impressive. I was a young boy. Like, that movie, I think, came out around the time that 9/11 happened. So a lot of people were like looking at it patriotically, which that's what I don't like about Top Gun Maverick is that I feel it's a recruitment tool. And you were there with the veteran that we were. I can't remember if our buddy had served, but he'd worked for the military, but like in an office in Missouri. He was like, "Yeah, He walked out of the movie going, I have the same sentiment where like that was cool, but it also gives me a numb feeling like they will use this to recruit poor and people of color to serve in the military. Only 1% do."
Yeah, but at least you get to be like Tom Cruise, That's the dream.
Yeah, everyone in the military gets to be in the elite version of the Navy, flyer academy. that fights wars against countries that don't get named because they want to sell this movie in China.
Well, it's definitely like Russia or something, right? Or at least European, maybe.
It doesn't matter. It's cool. Will they make a third one? No one speaks Albanian. Here's why this makes sense. Remember when there was that like prominent sign language translator who they showed was not like doing the sign language correctly at all? Yeah, and like, so you can still, okay, so there's the president and he's putting puts his coat. So we only ever see the president on TV. I think that's an important part.
Michael Belson, who I don't think I've ever heard of.
Nick find it and you can't?
Because Nick's a better Googler than I am.
No, I went on IMDb.
Oh, I didn't go on IMDb.
I saw a character named President.
Yeah.
I figured, well, that character is probably the president of the country.
Oh, here's the theme song.
Yeah, you got to get a song. That's what Willie was doing. I don't want to tell you where we... Hey, wait, borders. Does America have borders?
Not next to Albania.
Not with Albania.
Wait, what?
Not with Albania.
Yeah. So
no, of course not. That was a joke about how, like, Nick and I got in an argument on the Netflix or the network podcast about, like, when the guy goes up and gives the speech about there are no borders anymore. There are companies.
He didn't say borders, though. You turned it into borders. He said there are no nations.
That's a nation not its borders? Like, how do you define a nation on a map?
Because
the lines.
yeah, but he's saying there are no nation. No, but he's not talking about there not being borders. You turned it into not being about borders. Because there are no nations, because it doesn't matter if it's this country or that country, because the corporations span multiple nations, they're multinational conglomerates, and that's what he's talking about. So it has nothing to do with borders or enforcing borders or not enforcing borders.
As someone who has worked for multinational corporations many times, borders matter a lot. And you have to
but he didn't say that in the movie.
That's not what he was saying. Yeah. It matters to what your experience working for those companies.
Is Kirk a human or a meat bag, Nick?
That's also off topic.
No, it's not, because
yes, it is. Until you explain why it's connected.
Because
it's not connected.
Is the human Kirk defined by the bag of meat he is? Yes, to some degree, from one vector. What you're saying is that a nation isn't defined by its borders. What I think you mean is a nation is not only defined by its borders.
No, I'm not saying a nation isn't defined by its borders. A nation is defined by its borders. What Ned Beatty's character is saying in Network is that the nations don't matter.
So the borders don't matter then, right? So if the nations don't matter, the borders don't matter.
But that doesn't mean there aren't borders. There are borders in relative to nations.
Sure.
But if you are ignoring the nations...
But with enough money, they're of no consequence, is what he's saying. Would you not agree?
That is, he's saying, he's saying that there are things that are more powerful than nations and that span multiple nations, that are the corporations. That does not mean there are no borders between nations.
So now the song isn't going to work? Yes, there are borders between nations. I just feel as though corporate interests can override national interests in a way that we should discuss clearly as a group. So on an episode that is already published, I quoted the vice president, and then someone reacted negatively, and I said, well, by talking about things that are subjective like movies, hopefully that leads to better conversations about objective things, because I appreciate that you have opposed me at every turn on this.
On this particular argument, then
because I made it about how corporatist Secretary Clinton, who increased the slave markets in Libya, she gave speeches to multinational corporations, going, "Hey, I dream of a world without borders," and I compared that to Ned Beatty's speech, and I meant it in a positive way. I assume you took it in a negative way, which it also could be interpreted as, and I'm fully aware of that when I make that statement.
I was just, Kyle's using it as an excuse to talk about Hillary Clinton.
Well,
That's
of
what
course, I want to talk about
That's
Hillary
all.
Clinton. I
That's all.
always want to talk about Hillary
But it also
Clinton.
sounded like you were.
She's so cool and interesting.
Saying Ned Beatty's character is talking about like not securing borders or something. Well, that's not what he's talking
I'm
about.
saying that when like corporations don't care about national interests if the corporation's interests are, greater than that of the nation. Like we'll ship jobs overseas. Who the fuck cares if that hollows out Pennsylvania? We don't care about the people. We care about our profits.
Yeah. So it's not that borders don't exist. It's that borders matter in relative to some. Like if you're concerned with where one nation ends and one begins, then you care about a border. If you're a corporation that operates across multiple nations, then you don't care about the border, and the border still exists. It's just irrelevant to your purpose.
Actually, I'll give you a counter example of that. Europe, specifically England and the United States. Lots of companies operate in England and the United States, but the way you have to treat the border is very different. And the way privacy rights are protected in Europe through the GDPR, which is basically that you have the right that any data that a company gleans from you on the internet, you have the right to recall, right to ask to be deleted, and all these things. So all of a sudden, it becomes very important where the person is sitting when they do something but seemingly it doesn't matter because you're on the internet. And like I've worked with people across at multiple times I've worked with people in Europe and
sure
most things didn't matter.
Sure. And I think that's good that I mean like that they aren't above law. That's a sign that they aren't above laws. Like different companies have. Well, no, I mean, like if they have to worry about it, then they're not. Then they can't. They're only worried about it because, like there are different consumer protection laws in fucking Europe or even Australia compared to the U.S. I would argue that they are better.
Yeah, there's different breakdancing laws in Australia.
Sure, but and the companies that operate across these different nations, they at least have to abide by these rules. But I'm saying, aside from having to adhere to laws that differ across from this nation to that nation to that nation, companies that are big enough have more power than those nations combined.
100%.
That's what Ned Beatty is saying in Network.
Okay. We
so agree. We have to do this here. The law is different here. We have to do this here.
Real quick, Nick, I just want to cut in so you can catch some of the new shoe, old shoe shit that between the Willie Nelson and the other guy.
Oh,
because they're trying to do something with we need to make this relatable and we can't use the other song because it's in bad taste because the facts on the ground changed. So they're just making up some bullshit that's easily relatable.
Fucking shoe.
Yeah. Old shoe, new shoe. No, I was saying this to Kirk earlier about political things, and Kirk hit me up about why I'm wrong here, is that I don't think the three of us, even though I sound probably very different than you guys when I talk about my rhetoric around different political issues sounds different. Generally, I don't think we disagree on what the major problems are. We might disagree on how to fix them, but I don't even think that's as relevant as our ability to affect how they are fixed is very limited to a small scope of options. And probably it's hey, you need water, but you can have Coke or Pepsi.
Sure, that's not my issue.
What's your issue with me, Kirk? Get it out. We had a big talk before this about Kirk's issues with me. Isn't that right, Nick?
Yeah. So my issue is that
That was a joke.
Oh,
Nick was confused.
I'm before I got here? Because you guys were here for 20 minutes before I got here. But
Kirk got lost because he went and peed around the corner. No, he walked around the block.
Around the corner.
I swore you were peeing. Anyways, tell everyone about your issue with.
I get lost every time I try to drive here through the neighborhood. I get lost every time.
I love that. I hope that my stalkers have that same problem. Kirk.
So my issue is that you kind of waiting in the middle, but you definitely try to see more of the Republicans or the right wing leaning towards right more, and you try to defend them a lot more, try to give them more excuses, and then you don't really go after the Democrats for whatever they do.
That is true in how I interact with you. That is because if someone's a Democrat, I'll argue Republican thoughts against them. If they're a Republican, I'll argue Democrat thoughts against them. And it's I was thinking about this because I once got in trouble for asking the question: is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco? I don't care what your answer is. I will argue the opposite point on some level because you could argue the hot dog being a sandwich or a taco on either level. But the question is, do you cut the bread in half because they asked for sandwiches, or fold it around the hot dog because of what the audience wants? As what I think is ultimately true about the hot dog.
Yeah, but that is something so trivial. And with politics, you kind of, I mean, with friends, you kind of hope they, see your side. They are on the side that you're on.
Yeah, I am. I understand that, and I appreciate you saying that. I want you to know, Kirk, sweet baby Kirk, I
Yeah.
am always on your side, Kirkland Farx.
Oh, thanks. I need you to be on the right side of politics.
History?
Yeah. Politics.
Yeah, let's make sure all the wars happen and that they keep merging
Hey,
companies together for more
There's
power
no way that we
multinationally.
could stop the wars with the big corporations.
You don't switch a horse midstream, Kirk.
I mean, if the horse was good to begin with.
Old shoot. Well, if the horse was good to begin with, but then he gets to be 81 years old.
Well, that's why he stepped down. All right, he stepped down. Biden stepped down, and I don't see your big issue with the DNC certainly just
having more celebrities. I don't. I'm drawing a parallel between the DNC having a lot of celebrities and the plot of Wag the Dog and how they use Hollywood producers to fake a war so they could distract from a sex the problem is if people shouldn't care so much about sex stuff like this. It's just it hits people in the gonads.
Wait, but in this movie, he fucked it. They say he fucked a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
How old of a Girl Scout are we talking? I mean, I imagine there are maybe 18-year-old Girl Scouts. Like, and then you're done with. You turn 18, and then you're done with Girl Scouts very shortly after you turn 18. No more cookies. You can be legally fucked. And you're not selling cookies while being legally
Here's my
fucked.
answer to that, because Kirk said all that shit about Republicans, is that Nancy Reagan was the fucking throat goat. Now, was it fair to Nancy Reagan that she had to get down on her knees to get parts in the 50s and 60s in that studio system? No, but it doesn't make, how do you say, Ronald Reagan a sex pest of some kind for, hey, the throat goat Nancy Reagan, may she rest in peace, and remember that she wanted people who got AIDS to die poorly.
So why should I care about Nancy Reagan?
Yeah.
No, I'm actually saying fuck Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, I'm saying, but what does that have to do with?
There is no way to justify these people that we're watching in this movie trying to cover for a man who is a pedophile. But do you think that has happened in the past 30 years? Past 40 years? Past 100?
Yeah, but you were talking about the DNC, so it's like what?
Well, I was just drawing a parallel to a bunch of celebrities.
Like there's no such scandal currently.
No,
and it's not even like the Bill Clinton thing. I was saying it's not even like the Bill. What I was
this
getting
movie
at
isn't like the Bill Clinton thing because he didn't.
What I was getting at was that it's not even like the Bill Clinton thing because
he wasn't a pedophile that we know.
Exactly, because
he was still a Me Too incident because he shouldn't have used the ultimate power in office to bang a little overweight woman. And I'm glad she's lost the weight. She's hotter now than she was. Sorry, Monica Lewinsky, call me. Sorry,
I'm sure she's listening.
Yeah.
No, your point was that people take sex scandals seriously only because we expect the elected officials to be better than us. They should be better than the common man. That's why they're elected, and we hold them to a higher standard. But when you find out they're just like us, having sex on the sides, like, that sucks.
Arnie Vinnick in The West Wing, I can't remember if it's season 6 or season 7, He plays the Republican who's basically based on John McCain. And he talks about how he's not a religious person. And he says, if you ask your politicians to have religion, you are asking to be lied to. If you ask for another human being to be better than the average human being, you are asking to be lied to, is my genuine belief about that. And that's why I think this movie is funny, is because like the American people want to be lied to because we're lazy. And like now we've got Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman trying to cover up for a pedophile president. That's why I wasn't a famous actor.
Sure. But we got off on this because we got off on this tangent, I should say.
This is a great tangent.
Because you said like you were talking about like Clinton type stuff when you said we shouldn't be hung up on this sex stuff anyway. But I was pointing out like
I would like to be hung up on like the global initiatives.
This is
and
different
the Trump
because
towers,
the guy fucked like who knows a 12-year-old. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's disgusting.
So
it was disgustingly. This is around the time when Roseanne Barr made the point that a lot of people had been child molested, and we're about 2005 is when the priest stuff comes out, and that dates back to like that we know of in just the movie Spotlight, the 70s. So like if they had pederast priests in the 70s, do you think they had pederast priests in the 90s? You think
Well, I doubt they just suddenly got horny for young boys in the 70s.
Well, did you hear in Minnesota there are some women that won like a lottery or something and then donated a bunch of money to their church and they used it to cover up for a priest sex scandal. And like I don't know what to do with that but laugh at it, which I feel this movie is channeling in some way. That's why I like this movie and how like cynical it is in a fanciful way.
Sure, it's so ridiculous that you can laugh at it, and
it's relevant while being ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's so ridiculously stupid that it's so stupid that an average person wouldn't believe it.
But the average person doesn't see anything but the one angle, and that's why it goes back to is Kirk a meat sack or a human? I'm so sorry.
I am both at the same time, all the time.
Oh man, do you hate Henry Kissinger?
Yeah.
Because he bombed someplace on Christmas that he didn't have to, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Al Franken, former senator from the great state of Minnesota, who I voted for, and then stepped down for stupid reasons, and he shouldn't have stepped down. I'm gonna get political an hour.
I think this whole thing's been political.
What? It's a political movie, but it's not political in the way that I'm for Trump, I'm for Joe Biden. I mean, Kamala Harris, because if we'd recorded this a month ago, we'd have to say, I'm referring to the former president, 46. He'd be 86 in his second term. You do not want 86 year. I mean, Bernie Sanders would have been 86, but Nancy Pelosi's in her. I'm not going to look up her age.
She's like 82 or something.
I think she's old. I would bet you she's older than 82. You want to take that bet?
I'm not gonna actually bet on it, but
okay,
I just think she's 82.
I almost want you to be right.
Why are they throwing shoes up there?
84. I thought she was older than that.
She's 84.
Yeah. But why do we care that this 84-year-old got this 81-year-old to lose his job? Neither of them should be working. What is with this gerontocracy that these people feel they need to hold on to power this long?
Well, yeah, I mean, there should be term limits.
Well, that's a way to handle it. I would not fight against it.
Well, on age limits, so maybe it's your first term when you're 80.
Because Bernie's fine, but Joe isn't, and Bernie's older than Joe.
Well, okay, so you gotta come up with a standardized test then.
Damn.
I take a cognitive test every day on the job.
I don't know how you. They got fucking.
They touched my hairy legs. We made Medicare.
Albanian descendant Jim Belushi.
Because Jim Belushi's Albanian.
Yeah, that's correct.
He didn't know they didn't have 23andMe in the late 90s. It was easier to lie, and they throw.
But they're not wrong though. Like the Belushis are of Albanian. They do have Albanian background.
I love the Belushis. I quoted
Fuck Albania.
Oh yeah, because like a good old. Here's the thing that people are afraid of is that we're gonna get dicked into some war before the election,
Yeah.
and I hope we're not. You know, but I mentioned like check me on. I don't remember the date, but check me if at some point in August it happened where Iran said, "Hey, we won't retaliate for this attack if Israel accepts the ceasefire agreement from previously that this country, the United States, sold as being and
I
like,
never even followed. I got
well,
sick of following along, so
well,
I couldn't tell you if you're wrong
no,
or
no,
right.
no, 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 no. I understand that what I'm saying right now, I'm is being recorded and will be published. And
Yeah.
so, if someone were to be like, "Well, you got it wrong," I would love to know that I got it wrong because I know I can get it wrong. When I was a child, I thought it was okay to go into Iraq because I thought, well, we have to do something. It seems like everyone freaked out when those planes ran into buildings.
These guys kind of look like the guys who, you know, who crashed the planes. So.
That wasn't the reasoning I had. How did you feel about Iraq? How did both of you feel about Iraq back then, 2003?
I mean, as a kid,
Yeah, as a kid.
I didn't know that much about it. I knew that I don't know. It seemed like the right thing to do because they were saying it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember very immediately after, like, let's go kill those fuckers.
Yeah,
but that was like in 2001.
Nick, I've seen you in like shitty situations where you have said much worse.
Oh yeah,
for so much little.
I know.
He'll tell you when we're not on mic. Fucking behind. They just said Behind Enemy Lines. Remember that stupid fucking movie with broken nose football player Owen Wilson and Gene Hackman trying to
Behind
coach him
Enemy
back?
Lines?
There's a way better movie out that's kind of like Behind Enemy Lines called Land of Bad with Russell Crowe as the Gene Hackman character and one of the it's Thor's brother, not Loki, but his like real life brother.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, I think it's Liam.
One of his fucking Miley Cyrus.
He fucked Miley Cyrus. Well, we don't know that he fucked Miley Cyrus. We know he dated Miley Cyrus, like Loki, Tom Hiddleston dated supposedly Taylor Swift sometime in the past 10 years. I wish that information wasn't in my head.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that, again, I recognize I'm saying into recorded media that will be published that I could be fact checked on, but I'm very sure I'm correct. And it's that kind of bullshit. Like, oh, Taylor Swift is dating Loki because Avengers movies are popular. That's how long she's been popular. So they're making up that they have a relationship up in British Columbia during July when people who work in, Save Mart need something to read on the, magazine rags.
Oh, I didn't know that's when they were dating. During the Avengers movie?
It was around when Loki was still an Avengers threat because he doesn't die in Avengers 1. He dies... Well, in 2018, 19. He dies in 2019.
Infinity War. Yeah.
Oh, it's still 2018 in Endgame at the beginning, or no, Infinity War. Sorry, yeah, it's 2018. Duh. Oh man, how did I screw that up?
Do you even watch MCU, bro?
I do watch MCU, bro.
Well, that killed it.
The infantilization of our hey, you're so dumb, you'll buy what we put on the TV. Even if we shoot Kirsten Dunst, I'm glad I got that wrong again, with Tostitos.
Wait, she was in it only for that one scene?
Yes.
Wow.
And they...
Sucks.
This was after Interview with a Vampire.
And Jumanji. But, like, before... Like, what propelled her into... She would have been, like, what, 15 in this? So kind of in between, like, you're not doing the super like young kid roles anymore, and you're not doing, but it's before you're doing.
I really respect Spider-Man. That she was in this movie. I don't know how to.
Oh, it's before Bring It On. Bring It On is the one that like. Now you're gonna do teenage movies.
Her and who's the co-star of that? Who's on the other side, the green cheerleader team?
Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union's exactly.
Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, but Eliza Dushku is a co-star.
She's Albanian too, I think. Now that we're talking about Albania, I bet it.
I like Bring It On because it had a great kind of Friday Night Lights season 4 kind of storyline. I know that reference goes over both of your heads.
Eliza Dushku is American Albanian actress.
Wow, that's great.
It's full circle.
That was one hell of a pull. How do you feel about this movie? You guys haven't been able to pay attention because we've been.
Yeah,
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah,
You've noticed I've been pretty quiet because I'm reading all the fucking subtitles.
Yeah, that's why we do subtitles. And so my kids, when they watch movies, will associate the word with the sound. I don't know if that works. Other hip urban parents.
I'm just waiting for it to blow up in their face.
Have you ever seen the movie Network, Kirk?
No,
I'm kind of spoiling it for Nick, but he won't figure it out because Nick isn't a producer. He doesn't understand what being a producer is.
Okay.
He does. He's a producer on things. But again, both Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro are playing characters that I aspire to, even though, as we've already described, they're terrible people because they are covering for a pederast. But look at this young girl hearing the New Shoe, Old Shoe song and going like, oh, that's so good. And I'm proud to be a Republican because at least I know I have some cotton on my earlobe to show that I love him and I proudly stand up. We had some singing on one of the ones.
I think that's going to escape the noise gate.
No.
That the girl on the TV was from Mighty Ducks.
Really?
She's the girl from Mighty Ducks.
The girl on the TV, 1 hour and 10 minutes into the movie, is from Mighty Ducks, which was shot around the Twin Cities.
Wet Hot American Summer.
And Wet Hot American Summer, like what Nick's been having with his roommate.
Sure.
Wait.
Roommate girlfriend.
Noise gate? Did you want me to cut that part out or something?
No.
Noise gate, just like, the effects I've been applying to the tracks, it shaves off those quieter bits so that you kind of help shave off the voice of the other person who's not on your mic, and then that everything sounds cleaner as a result.
Right.
But that burp is going to come through.
So while they pick up Woody Harrelson, let's I'll give the audience some background about how both of you have edited episodes at this point. Of the Farx Brothers, Kyle Farx hasn't edited one of these episodes because I'm not as good as my brothers.
Woody
Harrelson is fantastic in this movie, and you are all up for a treat. I love Woody Harrelson, and I want to talk about The People versus Larry Flint with both of you.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I know what it's about.
Both of you, right now in the ass. Fuck you both. I have made my parents watch that movie. I've made my wife watch that movie because that is America to me. It's about the lawsuit that Jerry Falwell filed against him that went all the way up to the Supreme Court. It also is like a biopic of Larry Flint, who he's like him and Nelson Mandela dying in the past 10 years were guys that I was like, oh no. That's a terrible thing to say. Because Nelson Mandela is a good person, whereas Larry Flint is a pornographer. And
he might be a good person even if he's a pornographer, though.
Yeah, but it's good as Nelson Mandela.
It's not Girl Scout porn, is it?
No. But just like... Nelson Mandela is an important person in history. Larry Flint is not. But the movies about them, like the lore around them, and both of them have died in the past 10 years, and I got like notifications on my phone. Like for a minute, I thought about like, oh yeah, I know of their accomplishments. And so this guy is the war hero, right?
He's a convict?
Yeah, the behind enemy lines person that is a convict that they'll be able to then go, hey, look, we have this, behind enemy lines soldier who's helping us sell this lie now. Would you wear a suit like that, like Dustin Hoffman is wearing, Kirk? Would you wear that tie? Would you wear those suspenders?
Yeah, sure. Depends on where I'm going.
That's because you're a confident man. I would too. Nick, what are your thoughts? You wish you were wearing the Mr. Rogers of Robert De Niro right now? Going fishing?
Fishing? That doesn't seem comfortable. Hat. Oh, the hat, yeah.
Wait, you're talking about Robert De Niro?
Would you rather be wearing what Robert De Niro is wearing right now, or what?
Well, I don't do hats, so no.
Oh. So they're talking about the crimes of Woody Harrelson and how he's like, He's also like a sex pest that at least murdered people or something. It's terrible. But they need him to play a war hero.
Are his teeth really that fucked up, or did they give him
No.
fake? Okay.
And he's got to take all these drugs. Here's a question. Do you think someone who's been in like severe lockup has ever been used for scamming more than a couple of people?
Wait, scamming?
Yeah, because that's what they're going to do. Is they're going to use Woody
Oh,
Harrelson.
probably.
Not to make like basically what's going on is like a Brittany Griner coming home type situation where he's like a prisoner of war.
Who
Or
got released? That
yes,
they got released or whatever.
yes, exactly. To prove that the war in Albania is really going on.
Yeah.
Gotta find a way to spin it.
What?
Gotta find a way to spin it.
That's again, he's the producer.
Yeah, it's a hard spin.
Hey, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it will work out.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up because this movie's almost done, I think.
No. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's in its
Been on
final
for a
leg.
while. Yeah, it's got to be getting close. It's almost.
I'm not going to tell you guys how you can track what time it is in the movie because
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just know we roughly probably started at 9:30 and it's almost
Yeah.
11.
well now people know when we record like
Oh
I
yeah, they're
mean-
gonna know when to come to the door
Yeah.
to
that they don't
disrupt
know
our
where it is.
the sensitive
That thing
recording.
was huge.
He's still.
What if you had a bunch of pilled out models that you had to keep happy? One federal lockup guy, that's nothing. Just keep giving him drugs. We're on a plane that's not doing well.
Yeah. Damn.
We haven't looked up if it's a war room or situation room.
But it might be a tough. That would be a tough Google search,
And
especially
like,
with their AI that tells you to put fucking glue on pizza.
Alright, yeah, I remember that.
Like,
yeah.
well, the room in the
Mhm.
White House in Wag the Dog is the kitchen.
I should be using DuckDuckGo. Is that what you're trying to say, Joe Rogan?
I don't know.
What is DuckDuckGo?
It's
Is
another
it just-
search engine site. Google's going to get broken up. So, like, this is going to date this podcast because,
Yeah, there's not going to be a Google.
well, no, there'll be a Google, but they might have to, like, separate YouTube or.
How are
some
they
of
going to
the other-
divide their fucking little playgrounds and their slides and the ball crawls in their offices if they get broken up? They have to split it right down. Take
Have
a
you been watching
chainsaw,
Industry?
split it right. No,
Because in the last
Split it
episode,
right down the middle.
episode 2 of season 3, they have a fight in a ball pit at one of these, like, new agey kind of, like.
we're fun
alternate-
here. We're
Yeah.
fun here. We have a ball crawl.
Well, I've worked in offices with ping pong tables and kegerators and all of these things, and now working in an office has become maybe a little boutique in the past 4 or 5 years since COVID was,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
I mean, look at this scene. They survived this plane crash, and there's no injuries on any of them, and there's not even like a
They had a rough landing.
Where's
scuffle. Look, that
Woody
plane is on
Harrelson?
fire right behind them.
Oh, there he is.
I like that they didn't tell Woody Harrelson's prison character that, hey, you're going to be part of a big lie, because he won't find out. They don't, they don't know what's going on in prison,
I
in the
mean, if
outside
they
world.
give
They're
him
not
like
reading them. They're
a,
not watching the DNC in prison. You know,
but if they give him like a reduced sentence, wouldn't he have gone along with it?
they'll probably pay off whoever they need to that visits him, wherever
No,
he is. But the really bad ones get shipped around to, like, don't you remember season 2 of Orange is the New Black when she
I
gets
didn't see
shipped
it.
from the New Jersey jail, or yeah, prison to the Illinois prison?
I didn't
I
see
didn't
it.
watch enough of it to see
Yeah,
that.
Oh, well, like, if you're at a certain level of, lockup, they start moving people around. And then with private prisons, which, you know, I recognize I am saying this into recorded media, and, it's maybe not the greatest thing to say. Private prisons, we have the most people incarcerated per capita in this country. That's not great. Could it be financially motivated?
certainly financially motivated.
Kirk said it, not me.
Because I'm brave enough to say the hard
Yeah, you're
things.
you're so brave, so bold,
All right.
so brave and so strong. I watched the I find it somewhat galling that these, coastal elites are now on a piece of farm equipment to get out of their dubious situation where they were flying a.
But it's probably intentional, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's
100%.
the
Well, they're gonna suddenly have a change of heart because they connected to the common man.
Not in the
Suddenly.
slightest. But in season 4, episode 2 or 1 of The West Wing, when Josh Lyman, who's based on Rahm Emanuel, gets left in the middle, I think, Iowa,
Mhm.
while President Bartlett is going for re-election. It's like an uncynical version of this scene to me, and it makes that scene seem dumb because, oh no, Josh got left behind on NBC sitcom. I mean, prestige drama, The West Wing. The West Wing's even dumber to me
Wow,
in
really?
re- in
Why?
reflection of Veep, after, like, Veep existed after The West Wing.
Uh,
Veep's been off the air for like 10 years, or
guess you gotta
5.
watch Veep.
Oh, you definitely, that you both haven't watched Veep.
I've watched some of Veep.
You should watch. You should rewatch Veep with Rachel.
Yeah,
Oh wait, I'm
I think
sorry.
she's watched all of it.
But you guys could rewatch. I almost want to rewatch it with my wife, even though I showed it to her the first time and was like, "Oh, you got to watch this," when the final season was coming out or something like that. No, because too much political stuff at the time of year when politics are going to get turned up to 11.
I don't know. It would be nice to have an escape from the real shit show that is politics we're in right now.
It, I find that in Veep because it's funny.
What the fuck? Party.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I remember what happens. I've been trying to avoid what's going to happen.
He's gonna go fuck that whoever that was.
You're
Oh
saying
snap!
that
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson seeing one of the
Party.
sturdy farm girls doing farm girl activities
I want to put my
out in
PP in there.
rural areas.
I see the part of her that I want to put my PP in.
Oh, that's a great Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, that was a Woody Harrelson for sure. Atwood Beggar. I like the nut love. I like the boogie. See, it's the '90s, but he's singing a song from the '70s. He's out of touch. You see,
Wow.
the Blues Brothers and Kiss were an answer to disco and all that nonsense.
They're being really nonchalant about what's happening right now. What's
Well,
about
they
to
don't know
happen.
what they don't see Woody Harrelson approaching a. I guess also they're like they've survived a plane crash and they're with a felon.
He's gonna fucking
And
kill Woody Harrelson, isn't he?
no, it's fine, sir. I'll be able to talk this one out. I am a producer, you see. Old shoe. New shoe is old shoe.
Hmm. Now he's dead.
That was a trailer moment, I believe. So like people went in knowing that in
Oh.
theory. I don't know.
So he did kill Woody Harrelson. So I was right.
You were right,
Okay.
but I didn't say it.
Purdy.
Priority. And then, see, but they're drinking. They got cold beep and Coca-Cola, ice cold Coca-Cola. Milk is 24 cents. Is that really? Do you think what quantity of milk is 24 cents?
That's got to be from like
90s.
it.
Because milk, I heard a comedian talking about. I don't know how much milk costs today. Guess how much a gallon of milk costs
Today.
today. How much is a gallon of milk
Like
in dollars?
A
Like
gallon?
to the dollar.
A
$4
gallon.
A gallon of milk.
I don't
What?
buy much milk. I buy
maybe
You're saying
fucking
four?
Yeah.
Okay.
a gallon of milk.
A gallon of milk.
Um,
I think 4 is a reasonable number. I would have said 3. What were you
Yeah.
gonna say?
5 or 6.
Yeah, okay. Because you would buy like organic milk.
No,
and
I
that
don't buy
stuff
milk.
usually is
I
like
re-
7 or 8.
I really no. I buy like Califia. Extra
You buy
creamy, like
milk
oat
from
milk.
a cloaca? What? Like a
Califia.
bird's vagina pee hole?
Yeah, it's cloaca. It's got a little zip to it.
There's a military funeral going on. I mean, a fake military funeral, obviously, because
It's this fucking dog running around.
I mean, does it work better for them now that he's dead?
100%. It is so much better to have the dumb, like, poor person they were going to use as a political prop for them to be dead. Man, then they can't screw it up.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna look into his past anyways to make sure he's not like a tainted war hero.
Yeah, they're going to go on the internet. They're going to, no.
Right.
How would they do that? People would have to find that information, be motivated to find that information, and then have a way to publish that information. That's kind of like why they can fuck with Kirsten Dunst and be like, "Oh, you're gonna get paid for this, but you can never publish that you did this." And it's like now she would have already been on Instagram, and it would have been screwed up. Whereas, like just up until very recently, they could manufacture certain things, if you will.
Well, thanks to AI, lying will be easier again.
We'll get back there.
Yeah.
Back to the good old days. Make AI great again, Kirk said.
I didn't say that. You said that.
You were
said
like,
it'll
oh my
be-
God, I can't wait until artificial intelligence makes it easier for people to lie.
Wow. Take it right out of my mouth. All right.
No, I mean, if you want it in your mouth, keep it there.
All right.
Okay, wait, what did Bush hit after 9/11? Didn't
Something
he
ridiculously
hit like
high, I
80
think.
or 90?
Something, yeah.
And this is 3 years before that. Well, Clinton was over 60 most of his time in office. He's one of those guys that could have run for a third term. And to quote, what is it, Get Out, where the guy's like,
I would have voted for.
For
I would have
Obama.
voted for the third term.
So
Yeah.
I worked. My boss's boss once was a Mormon, and I was telling a coworker who revealed to me that he had formerly been a Mormon that like, oh, should I tell my boss the bastardization of I would have voted for Obama a third time? Like I would have voted for Mitt Romney again, Mormon.
Yeah.
Would that work on a Mormon audience? Please write in and tell us the Church of Latter-day Saints. We love you. You have the best Bible. You are clearly good Bible believing. Let me endorse this as a Bible believing Latter-day Saint. The nuance for both of you is that a Latter-day Saint and a Christian are very different things. I respect both
that went
of you.
over my head.
What?
That went over my head. For
Oh,
sure.
I know. I know. I'm aware that it went over your head. But for some people, that hit. And I mean, we're watching
Right in
a
the sweet
fake
spot.
military funeral. Like, what could be more disrespectful to the 1% of people that serve in our, military services than to do a fake one of these for political purposes? That's disgusting. Almost as disgusting as, defending a pederast. Which,
Yeah.
again, this is 8 years before 2005 when, oh my God, there is a global cabal of a religion that is hiding a bunch of pederasts in plain sight. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Yes. Unfortunately.
I know. That's why it's, again, This movie isn't like on Netflix. It's going to number one. Borderlands is going to go to number one on Netflix in 6 to 7 years. People are like, oh, do we need to reevaluate Borderlands?
Yeah, it was good. It was ahead of its time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I needed that laugh. It was so good. It was that. We went into that debate. They were just like, sorry.
That
Limp Dick Film School pansy. Don't you tell me that. I'm just going to read the subtitles. This is Jeffrey Katzenberg for the Democrat Party. I'm sorry. You guys should look that one up. You know who Jeffrey Katzenberg is, Nick? Tell Kirk.
From DreamWorks?
Yep.
Yeah. What about him? What should I say?
Yeah.
So he's under, like, there's reports that he's a big Democrat fundraiser on the West Coast. And, like, this man who, you know, left Disney, started DreamWorks. He's a titan of Hollywood. Well, then he did Quibi. And then he was like, Joe Biden will be just fine for 2024. Yeah. And I'm not trying, like, I respect and love Jeffrey Katzenberg. I don't like saying this about him. It's kind of like I'm Van Jones and I love Biden. Like Jeffrey Katzenberg was like, hey, I'm going to be able to sell Biden to the American public. And up until that debate. Sorry. So funny. I was in a wedding that weekend and I like, okay, guys, I'm leaving the mutual bachelor party between the bride and groom to go watch the debate late night in my hotel room.
Wow, you sound like you're fun at parties, Cal.
Oh, so much fun. I was talking about how Jamal Bowman got like ousted by AIPAC in his district, and they spent in a primary like 8 figures.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they should be allowed to do that, AIPAC, because I'm way on their side. AIPAC, if you want to sponsor this podcast, we're here for it. We will go full Zionist and say,
Wait, who's the guy
You never
being
go full
sweared on?
Zionist.
so I'm the producer. People should understand that I made this fake military funeral happen. I need the credit. So Robert De Niro has a bunch of guys with sunglasses and suits on gather around Dustin Hoffman and say, okay, buddy, get in this car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did they kill him?
Yeah, that's
Hey,
the implication.
Albania has a proud and brave people, and it is awful that any blood was shed for the freedom of Albania, much less the freedom of the United States. And my wife once cried during a 21 shot salute. Is that what you're supposed to call it? Because it's not a 21 gun salute. There's 7 guns and they shoot 3 times, but they call it a 21 gun salute. This is for my great uncle. We were at his funeral and I could not. I had to fight back laughter. Like, why are you crying? And she was, why are you overcome by this military? And it's because she's like in touch with her emotions and a healthy person. But
Must
just
be
them
nice.
showing that 21 gun salute, like I've seen that a couple of times at funerals. I guess because I saw it because I'm from a rural area, so more people from there more often served, and how you want to evaluate that. So
Wow.
we're watching this news report like it's important. This is fake.
Huh.
So the president got reelected.
Yeah,
the
that's how it
pederast
ends.
president got reelected because Robert De Niro came in, got his buddy Dustin Hoffman to fake a war, and then got him killed because.
Damn.
Did you guys like this movie? Even though we talked through the whole thing and
I think I would like it. I can't say I did because I'm trying to.
You should take it with you and watch it with your roommate girlfriend.
I'll find it on streaming. I'll watch it in HD.
You should. I 100% feel you should because it's a well written movie. It's like now that you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's they 100 minutes, and they like, oh, sorry, under 95 minutes.
Jay Leno was himself. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be in the movie Wag the Dog as myself. Eat some Doritos.
I went with Vice President Harris, and we got the Doritos together. She's in the Cool Ranch. I am in the spicy nacho. It's just a little bit of spicy nacho that gets me going. I'm Italian, you know. She, as former President Trump just found out, she is biracial. She has both South Asian heritage, and she has Jamaican heritage. And Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, he brought that up to me.
It is like the world's longest impression ever.
I'm sorry, that's not the world's longest. I did it for way longer in a high school like youth group talent show that we did for one of our like dumbass youth group nights. Is like, okay, someone go up and talk or like do different talents on stage. You have 5 to 10 minutes, and I was Jay Leno, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think the devil. I had Jay Leno had Arnold Schwarzenegger followed by the devil, but like Arnie almost bumped the devil, you know? Because I don't know if you've seen End of Days, Kirk.
I've seen it.
Yeah. It's time to go back to hell, you motherfucker. This is a PG-13 movie. I didn't get to say motherfucker because the MPAA does not allow you, or the MTA, if you use fuck in a sexual context, it is no longer a PG-13 movie, cock. Kirkland Fox.
Wow, that's pretty good. Feel like he was right here in the room. Wow.
That's why as Woody Allen, I like to just say making love. As I cast an actress in one of my pictures. When we wrap the picture, we make love. We don't fuck.
Okay. What we need to hear this break scene. Okay. So this scene setup. It's Woody Allen directing Arnold Schwarzenegger. Kirk, in what movie is Woody Allen directing Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I don't know. It's gotta be a very serious scene, right? In a
super serious scene.
Serious movie.
It should be related to Wag the Dog.
It's a comedy picture about a middle-aged man who is on vacation in France and meets a 22-year-old woman. He wants to make love to her, and they play tennis. And the middle-aged man goes to see his analyst about why he always wants to make love to 22-year-olds.
Comedy is a combination of tragedy plus time. So after fucking the tennis pro that he was getting the instruction from.
You mean making love?
My character is getting instruction from.
You mean making love? You need to see an analyst about why you like to use the word fuck.
Yes. So this is the end of the commentary. We got all the way back to the DVD menu.
I'm going to go play some tennis with Tony Roberts.
We got to end this shit. Where's the... Oh, I got to find the other remote. Okay, thank you for listening to another episode of Movie Baiters Bone Us. BONE-US. Baiters. Spelled the BATERS. Kirk Landier.
All right, let's end there with those incredible impressions. Dear listener, the movie is over. You can turn this off. Bye-bye.